Take a deep breath in and out and like whatever she does. First of all, I subconsciously worry that she's going to paralyze me.
Right.
But she hasn't yet. But
we're just waiting for it.
Well, it kind of is scary because we're dealing with my neck.
Yeah.
But whatever because it's the same thing last time. It's like when you get a massage and then the next day or like that evening or whatever, you feel like garbage.
Yeah.
I had that on Friday when I saw her last, and I have it again today. I think it's better. It's more forceful than what she was doing before, which apparently is what my neck needs.
Right.
Because it doesn't do well with small nudging. But when she does this, whatever muscles relax or whatever lymph fluid gets flowing, whatever happens, is it whatever toxins are in there get pushed out.
Makes you feel like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are we recording right
We've
now?
been recording.
Okay. But yeah, I don't feel good. I haven't felt good for a couple days.
Well, you came in right. Well, yeah. I mean, definitely it has been, this is the first time that you kind of have like seriously said, I think I need to like spend some me time like on myself, like massage therapy and chiropractic care and like just a general care plan. Because I think it's, for you especially, you're worried about everybody else. Your focus is so much on making sure I'm taken care of, the kids are taken care of, your friends are taken care of, even people you don't want to be taken care of, you're taking care of them. You know, I think it's probably why you have an interest to be in like healthcare profession, why that's always been of interest to you.
Mm-hmm. They go hand in hand. Yeah,
you have this weird empathetic thing that I just don't understand.
But I don't think it's unique.
No, but I guarantee you it's unique to the people that go into that field.
Perhaps.
There has to be a
really
piece.
shitty nurses, though. Really
do nurses
shitty
count,
doctors.
though?
I don't know.
Like, if the problem is, like, I'm all for, like, nurses are heroes, and I'm game for that.
But
there's a large butt there, and usually it is a pretty large ass. But either way, I know a lot of folks that were like, I just didn't, like, nursing was like, it's what was available.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't called to nursing.
And they hate it, and you can tell that they hate it.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, at some point there was like a stretch of time where you swore that like junior colleges were paying people to go into nursing programs.
I felt this way?
No,
or like,
I feel this way.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like everyone's a nurse. Well, like, how is everyone a nurse?
I think like social stereotypes are starting to change, but I think traditionally speaking, if you are a lady, your career paths, like since the beginning of time when women worked, right? You're either a teacher or you're a nurse. Like those were the available things to you. And for sure the demographic is changing. You know, you talk to my dad, it's like, yeah, it's that affirmative action stuff that was in the 60s and the 70s or whatever, where like they wanted more people of color and women to go into the professions. Okay. But I for sure feel like now the rate at which people are getting cranked out, because you would assume, okay, because I wanted to go to dental school, so it's like if I was going to go to dental school, for sure I'd be a shoo-in, right? Well, it's like you're white and you come from the upper middle class, so you don't have a lot of things to write on, like, for your acceptance essay that, like, for other than the fact that I'm a woman, and that no longer seems to cut it a whole bunch, because the amount of doctors and dentists and chiropractors and all, you know, they're all doctors, but it's the amount that's being cranked out that are female is a lot higher. And male nurses are starting to become more of a prominent thing. But I think, like, traditionally speaking, if you're a lady and you want to go into healthcare, it's like, oh, so you want to be a nurse. And if you're a boy and you want to go into healthcare, it's, oh, you want to be a doctor.
Yeah, I never even thought, I don't think I've ever thought much about it. I just know that I've known a lot of dudes that are nurses too.
We do now. Yeah,
right.
But that's what I'm saying, is the access is being tilted for sure, and the, like, rural nurses. But I think, like, stereotypically speaking, this is what's happened. And people, in children emulate and parrot adults, right? And it's why mostly, not always, but if you're using a blanket statement, is most little girls are the ones that have the baby dolls. And they're holding babies and they're feeding baby. Or they have a kitchen play set.
Right.
It just... And even if you offer them both things, a lot of times same-sex children, or the children are going to do what their same-sex adult counterpart has done.
Sure.
So I just think that...
That's why doctors have kids that are doctors.
Right. I think it's multifaceted,
sure.
Right? There's never just a cut and dry reason.
Yeah.
But I think traditionally speaking, is if you have thought about going into healthcare, it's nursing in some way, shape, or form if you're a lady.
Yeah. But not to deviate too much, but it was the thought that I really was going with towards was the idea where you've been able to focus a little bit more on yourself, and you've been getting prepared for that because this is the first week that the house is empty.
Yeah, kids started school yesterday, and I think that that's part of it. Is I'm trying to figure out really why I'm not feeling good. Is it like, am I getting sick? Is it because I'm having neck and back problems? Is it something deeper going on? Is it emotionally driven? All these things, but for sure, emotionally, I have been struggling about the last week, and a lot of it is because the kids are back in school. And it's so many, it's not just the, mom sob, ha ha ha, my babies are growing up. For sure, that's a part of it.
Yeah.
It's a main driver for me. And you have the moms that are like GTFO, like foot. And I totally, like, I understand both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
It has been a long 18 months for a lot of people having the kids home.
Sure.
And now they get to be back in a classroom, which is wonderful. But it's a mix for me. I understand those sensations, and I appreciate the fact that my children are not here bugging me every moment of the day. But it's also coupled with the fact that, so it's our eldest started middle school, our middle one's in 3rd grade, and our littlest started kinder. And I am having a much more difficult time than I anticipated. You know, when they finished the end of last year, there wasn't like, oh, preschool's over, I'm so sad. It was no, like, I'm filled with excitement.
Well, but there also was no like hard end either, and that's been something that's interesting when you think about Henry. Like a lot of the and I truly do feel like they're massive. It's stupid. The graduation ceremonies are done.
Yeah, we've
touched on that.
Yeah.
But then again, there are also like little milestones, and I'm gonna say for moms and grandmas and folks where
parents.
It's not parents because I don't give a shit about his graduation.
But I think there are a lot of dads that do. Anyway,
I don't.
Okay.
I don't believe that the dads have that same attachment. But then again, it also depends on like who's been doing the majority of the child rearing and put the most amount of time in with that kid. The fact is that, and it's just connection to it's, you see those teachers all the time. You're at drop off, you're at pickup, you're doing those things. So you put in a lot of time with those folks at that school. That there are certain milestones for preschool where it's like, it's kind of get to bookend the year. Like this is the year party and we get to be finished. And this was supposed to be the terrible spaghetti night dinner. The food wasn't very good, but everybody gets together and Jack did, jump over the candlestick. Like it's those things didn't exist for Henry. No, because of COVID. He missed all of those things.
Yeah.
And so it is like it was just a very weird experience. He had a great experience in preschool, but he had a very weird experience from our perspective of like the milestones as you kind of like mentally prepare for the fact that he's now done. It's like he only was there for a year. You know what I mean? Out of 3 years of schooling, like he was only actually on campus for like one of them.
Maybe. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a weird sensation. And I guess where I'm driving is closure. Like I think for what I would assume would be for a lot of the moms or a lot of the parents that are emotionally invested like that, it's you didn't kind of get that closure, the final goodbye. It's kind of like the idea of like, oh, school year's over now. It's like it's ended.
For me, that's not what it is. I may be for some. I don't feel that way. I struggle with abrupt change anyway.
Right.
And so, and I gotten used to things a certain way. But for the end of school, I knew it was coming. And by the end of last year, especially, it was like good riddance to hell with this year. I don't want anything to do. It's over. We're done.
Right.
So I didn't feel like I felt like the preschool did a really, really good job, the best that they could to provide. It wasn't for sure the same experience that Jack had.
Right.
But I felt like they did a very good job with what they could to help the kids have that final.
Oh yeah, it's not a slight towards them whatsoever.
No, but for me, it's some parents may feel that way where it's like, well, we didn't get to go to a graduation ceremony, we didn't get to have the end of year show that we always, is these things. For me, I'm just having a hard time. It's a couple things. It's as a mom, because he's young, so Henry's only 4, he'll be 5 in September. For most parents, it seems like they wait a year, right? Especially if they're boys. Because what I always hear is like, oh, they're boys, which apparently means that they're giant idiots and that they need the extra time, or they hold them for another year because of athletics. I understand that. I don't give a shit. We started Michael early, and I don't know if it's because we have large children and I guess if just visually comparable, it's like, no, you're big, you're ready, let's go. I don't know what it is, but we started Michael early. Jack is younger, so he always turns, he'll turn 9 at the end of the school year. So he started 3rd grade this year, where a lot of kids are already 9. He'll turn 9 in May.
Right.
And Henry has started kindergarten, and he's technically only 4.
Right.
So there's a vast discrepancy. So I worry. I mean, in every other respect, because technically he started at preschool when he wasn't quite 2 yet. Started in the 2s. And I'm like, this may be terrible. And if it's terrible, no big deal. Now I feel with kinder, it's it's punctuated that feeling for me of, I'm not sure. But in every other respect, having the older brothers, he's always risen to the occasion. And
everyone said that he was ready.
Yeah, we had a couple sit downs with his teacher, with the preschool staff, and I was just very much like, please, I'm essentially looking for an excuse. If there's anything that you're fishy about, we'll do another year. And they said, we would love to have him for another year. And for athletic reasons, we understand if you want to hold him. But behaviorally and academically, there would be no reason that we can foresee.
Right.
In the child, he's for sure much more advanced than Michael or Jack was when they were starting kinder.
Definitely.
The dude has figured out he can't read. Well, that's what was so funny is yesterday after first day of school, when he came home, it's like, how was it? He's like, well, it was ridiculous. Because my teacher told me that she was going to teach us how to read, and she forgot to teach me to read yesterday. So...
It's been a whole day.
This
school thing is bullshit, Mommy.
Yes.
If I'm going to be there all day, I better know how to read
by the end of that day. Yes.
Yeah.
But no. I mean, for sure he has taught himself to read certain words. He can count to 100. There are certain things that he is much more advanced with, but my momometer is unsettled, and I have high anxiety about that. Mostly, I think the reason is because... I think most people assume it's like, oh, you have 3 boys, your hands are full, but it's, I would like more children.
Right.
I know that you and I don't align on this path, and we, for sure, as a collaborative unit, decided when Henry was 3 months old, it was time to get fixed, because he absolutely broke me. Physically, metaphysically, spiritually, all the things. I've never felt like I was going to be closer to death than I was when he was born.
And that was just once he was here.
Yeah, I know that.
There's so many.
I know.
See, you have an amazing ability to erase memories. Yeah.
But whether I do or not, I recall things being horrible. I recall when I had the miscarriage or miscarriages, and constantly worrying every moment of every day for 9 solid months about
Correct.
whether you're going to lose your baby. Like, and I get that. I recall it, but I don't remember the shit.
It has to be evolutionary.
It does.
There has to be a piece so you keep having, so you don't remember. Like, hey, don't you remember, like, baby number 2,
when
where,
your
like,
vagina
ripped your ass apart?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that? Like, no. Let's keep having more.
Yes. But, so, I want more. We decided, you are fixed. So, it's...
That's the joke. If you want more, you can have more. It's just not with me.
Right. But I think it's also paired with the fact that I likely can't have children either.
Right.
But
and that's another big piece. There's just a big psychological piece. So, like, obviously it's on your end, right? But also understand, for me, it's I helped make that decision so that it's not your fault.
I know.
Because that's a big piece. That it's like, there's something wrong with me. I'm broken.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that.
Right. And that's heavy, right? And
because I do feel that about with the twins, because every September 18th I go through that every time, where it was my body that couldn't hang. It was my body that couldn't grow them. That there was something fundamentally wrong with my system.
Right.
And that's on me, because it was never you.
But what we do know to be true is that Michael, as the OB explains, is that didn't build the placenta correctly. Mm-hmm. Like, there are certain things that are supposed to happen that have nothing to do with you.
No, I understand that. But it doesn't change the feelings.
Of course.
Right now I'm feeling all the feels.
Right.
But I think the fact, because I've been struggling with, like, an identity crisis for a couple of years now of
right.
like, what the fuck is this? This is not how I wanted my life to turn. This is not what I envisioned that life was going to be. And trying to figure out, especially since we were done having kids, where it's like, what now, what next, but still very much being in the shit. And now there's just like a punctuation mark at the end where it's, now they're gone for 6-7 hours a day.
Yeah, it's the push, right? It is a very literal, like, now physical manifestation of these things that you've been worried about, thinking about, where it's like, okay, they're not gone.
Okay.
Right, but they are not here for a substantial amount of time, to the point to where it's like...
And who am I? For me, it's who am I without them?
Right.
What have I become? This morphed version of what I thought I was going to be.
Right.
What do I want to do next? Because I don't, and I think that's what I'm struggling with, is I don't have a very defined path of what is next. I'm trying to define it. But the reality is like, I want to go back to school. Do I want to go to medical school and be a doctor? Especially after the pandemic and seeing the vast array of shit as, holy crap, they need healthcare personnel. Yeah, I am not one to stand in the shadows.
And that is a topic we said, like, there's fucking nurses everywhere. But then again, it was like,
apparently there's not enough.
There's not enough.
Right. And so I have this desire to help. And I don't want to stand back and be, again, when push comes to shove, if you're looking at profession as like essential, it's, if you're in I know they were like, oh, we're grocery store workers, you're essential and you're whatever, and that's how we get our food now. That's how we have adapted ourselves to just have convenience, but that's not where food comes from.
Right.
So it's, if you're looking at what essential jobs are, it's number one, medical, all the way. Because since the beginning of time, through war, through childbirth, through sickness, is you need a shaman, a doctor, a spiritual healer, an elderly chief. Like, something since the beginning of time has always existed where they have the most vast medical knowledge, and that's where you go when you are sick and dying.
Yeah, you do need to have somebody that's going to specialize in something.
And like, maybe the farmers. Even then, I would challenge that it's everybody has the ability to do something, but right now, because nobody has any knowledge of that whatsoever, farmers are real damn essential, because we don't know how to grow shit.
Right.
But that's about it. There may be more that I can't think of, and we're not getting angry comments on our shit right now, but if we were, I'm sure someone would highlight another profession that is like, no, these people are important too. But it's like, I guess maybe law enforcement.
You need to have somebody that's big and strong that's going to keep your shit from getting taken.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, sure.
But then again, no, you also don't. You just need an AR-15. You can be a very small person. But you need a way of protecting yourself.
My brain is going to like the beginning of time and a tribal unit. What did you have? You had some sort of healer. You had somebody that could like take care of babies and grow the food to eat. And then you had somebody that could protect.
Killers.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
killers, growers, and healers.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's I have this desire to, when shit got shut down and was like, oh, everyone just stay home and watch Netflix. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
They need help and nobody's helping. That drove me insane.
Well, because it's selfish as fuck. And that was one of the things we talked about. I think one of our episodes is called like Waiting for Superman.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's.
What are we. Yeah.
Who's coming, you guys?
Yeah.
The government?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And we're still in it, 18 months later?
With a big S on their chest to come help you out? Bail you out with that extra $500?
Listen, I will take any monies that Uncle Joe wants to send our way.
Amen. But $500 is enough to let you know how fucked you are.
Absolutely. No,
right.
That's a whole nother. Yeah.
Right.
But it's, so I have a desire to go back to school. I have a desire to have the prestige that I thought I was going to create in my career that I feel like I don't have. But I also want to farm, and I want to be financially independent and like be with you and be able to be retired when our kid at 45, when all our kids are out of the house.
Sure.
Where most people now have a 3-year-old at 45 and they're going to be in the shit until they're, on a walker.
Right.
Is you and I had children early. So by the time we are in our early to mid 40s, all 3 of them are going to be out.
Right.
And so we have multiple more lives to live after parenting is done. So but it's just, I'm having a hard time articulating what's next.
Yeah.
Because being a mom is so intricately tied to who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that it's hard because I'm so excited for Michael. He's finally out of the little kid. Oh, my friends, my special friends, where I love you, hugs and kisses and spoon-fed and treated like an infant, is he's now starting very incrementally to get to the next stages where it's like, no, you have individuality and you have a different learning path and all these things, and, that he can explore that he's never been able to explore before. And I'm beyond excited for him.
Yeah.
But it's coupled with the fact that it's holy shit. And like, he's been here now longer
than he'll be here with us. Yeah.
And now with the baby starting that journey, it is a very hard bookend.
Yeah, for me. It's a hard chapter close.
And I'm taking it harder than because I've always been the type that it's like, because again, I laugh and I mock at like graduation ceremonies and oh, my precious baby, and
because your kids drive you fucking insane.
They do, and
right?
and that's what's so crazy is, the thing I hate the most is when people talk about so what? Oh, great, your kids are in kindergarten. So what are you going to do with all your free time now? It's like, bitch, I've not had. Like, clearly you don't know what it takes to run a house and a home. Because even though they're gone for 7 hours, I'm not sitting back on the couch with my feet up drinking a glass of wine.
It's also, you don't only just take care of the house.
No, and see, that's, I think, for people, too, is people seem to, either they don't understand, you have a definitive 9 to 5. And you are the face of the business, I'd say 99% of the time, simply because...
You're not ready.
My introversion paralyzes me from doing so it's, in order for us to do anything, is I need you to be the face of it and I do stuff on the back end.
But I will tell you, I want to over-dominate this because you got more to say, but it's just you're not ready yet. Like, it's a hard yet. And the reason why I say that is anyone that takes the time to go back and go through every one of our episodes
God bless you.
Which it's...
You're freaking crazy.
Megan has reached out. She's finished all of our episodes.
Has she? Oh, bless
she's
you.
gone from episode 1 to where she's just like, where are they? Where's the next episode? Like, she's like, now she's waiting. She's waiting for the next episode. But if you do that and you listen to you from Peppa Pig is Next Level and our origin story, which is episode 2, who you were then to who you are now are completely different people. And there's major milestones that happen throughout that journey where it was like you had the confidence to then make the jump. You had these major things that happened over time. You're not the same person.
I don't see that. Or
you were a totally broken person.
I still feel that way.
But think about the history of when it was we were getting ready to leave that got taken from you.
Yeah. It's
true abandonment to where now it's like your confidence is so high. You're always battling with it and you're always fighting. Because it's like, it's one of those things where it's the importance of taking before and after pictures if you're getting ready to like start a workout routine, right, to lose weight, is that it's...
You can't see it when you're in it every day, but when you look back, I get it.
And there's also dysmorphia.
Yeah.
Right? The idea is like, I still look in the mirror and I just see a fat kid. To this day, I still see that fat kid who was fat when I was little. Like, I don't get beyond that. But that's why weightlifting is so big for me, because it doesn't matter what my thought is of what I see when I look in the mirror. The reality is that I know that my weight has gone up in my strength. Yeah. And that's where my goals are not aesthetics. Yeah. Because I'm fucked up mentally when it comes to that. And so, again, not to derail at all, but it's the progress that you've made is night and day. And you're not there, and you can't see it, and that's okay. But the reality is that it's important to where I'll always try and check you on that, because you've made huge progress. But it doesn't change the fact that you are now it's like at your feet. It's like in your face. And the thing is that you're also seeing, what I've heard you say the last couple of days, is that it's not what it means right now. Like, the boys are coming back. Yeah, I know. Like, I know. It's what it represents. Mm-hmm. It's what's so much deeper of what it means that's coming.
Because it's, and I've got to talk about this to exhaustion, but it's having boys is my job has to end. And it's like, no, you're going to be a mother forever and they're always going to need you. And it's like, have you talked to any normal functioning man about how much he needs his mother?
Yeah.
Because if he needs his mom that bad, then there's something inherently wrong. Like, it's... there is a part of my subconscious that is like, oh, I would love to be like 45 and still live in the basement and we can watch Jeopardy together at night. Like, that sounds lovely. But is so unhealthy.
Well, yeah, because they're going to wear your skin.
Well, it's not...
So you have to be careful because they're going to become a serial killer.
Yes, that's... Yes.
Right.
No, but it's... This... And I draw a very hard line in the sand with the idea that it's like, if you are pregnant, and even if it wasn't planned, if you had freaking sex... And you get pregnant, like, there is an inherent risk with having sex. Short of being raped and having no choice in the matter, if you are having sex, there's an inherent risk that pregnancy is going to go along with that. Whether you like it or not. The second that I found out that I became pregnant, something switched. And I don't think that's unique. And I'm not saying that I am this fantastic mom, because I feel like a shitbag all the time.
Which is what makes you a good mom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess. But it's like that has always come first. Is I had very, very strong plans on a career and 1,000 letters after my name and like writing my own book and like being a professor and like doing something that is like tangibly meaningful, like that I can see it and that matters. But I could never separate like the idea that I was pregnant and that I'm going to be a mom. So it was like everything immediately got put on hold. And I'm not saying that I did that right. I mean, looking back, it's like, God, could I have worked more? Could I have continued my education down another path? Could I have done these things? Probably, because women do it all the time. Now, I'm not most women by any stretch of the imagination, and everyone has their own limitations on what they can handle and what they can't. But I knew that if I was going to phone it in as being a mom, that I was going to feel infinitely worse. Because again, I was working when Michael took his first steps.
Right.
And that freaking killed me. It's so stupid that it killed me. But it's like, what am I doing? This is stupid. It doesn't matter. Now, granted, we had to eat, and I was the breadwinner for a while until you got your first job. But then I stopped working for a little bit till we moved up here and I worked part-time. But it was like, we were poor, and we have been poor for years. And we probably could have put the kids in daycare, and I probably could have worked more. But for me, it would have been all for
not.
For what?
Yeah.
My paycheck would have went to daycare, and I would have missed a lot of shit. And that's the thing too that's so hard about momdom, is it's like they assume that because you're a stay-at-home mom that you just love every moment of motherhood. And it's like,
fuck you. Yeah,
you don't know.
Yeah. You know why you work? Because you can't stand your kids.
Right. But it's like, that wasn't in the cards for me, because there's so many moms. It's like, well, yeah, I just put them in. It's like, I know I can't be a stay-at-home mom. It's like, then it's like white people shit is what I always say. Because it's like, then you have a privilege that you can't even identify that exists for you.
Right.
Because you have a career where you can just be like, I can't stand these fuckers. I'm going to put them in daycare so that I can have some sort of like emotional growth or release, psychological, whatever you're doing it for.
Yeah.
But for most people, again, is I would have worked, my salary would have maybe broke even with daycare for 3 children.
For daycare for 2. That's when you stopped.
Yeah.
Because that's what we looked at financially. We looked at the having 2 of them.
Yeah. And it was,
once we had Jack, it was like, so that's not possible.
But it's
that's
just
impossible.
And I am in no place to judge anybody else. Because for sure, again, the psychological state that I was in when we had Henry, and the fact that he didn't sleep and he cried every moment of the day, and I still had other 2 kids to take care of, I got broken. Like, I was borderline, like, I need to go to a mental institution. Like, I need to go to the hospital because because
we were also like homeschooling.
Yeah.
You were also homeschooling.
Yeah, I'm not okay.
Homeschooling.
Yeah, we were homeschooling because we were in the transition up here to Virginia.
It was so horrible.
But so I'm in no position to judge. Everybody is to each their own. But for me, we made kind of the conscious decision a little bit we're going to be poor. And I'm going to figure out how to be poor. And even though I hate this existence, I can't handle watching Peppa Pig on repeat all day long and having to feed these bastards every hour and a half because they're hungry. And like all the things that go with being a mom, I didn't enjoy, but I do have memory. And for me, it's because having boys, I know it seems that I think if you're a good mom, it seems from the men I know that they look fondly upon mom. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think it's just when they grow up, I want them to remember, I don't know. I don't know how to articulate it. It's just, I want them to have a warm, fuzzy sensation that she did something right. I had a good childhood.
You talk about this. So I think trying to kind of tie it all up into like one story. So something you talk about often is like, you want to have the best recipes. So like the best
fried chicken
recipe, right?
Chocolate
The best
chip
chocolate
cookie
chip
recipe. So when they marry some hooker 20-pound bitch that doesn't know how to microwave, like boil, it's I need to be able to have them come back for something.
Correct.
To visit me when you have died. That it's if I can cook chicken,
right?
Maybe like
it's not like mom
once
in
a Thanksgiving, yeah,
right. This is not the way mom used to make.
Because that's I envision the ladies or gentlemen, whatever, we're cool with that they're gonna bring home, and it makes my eyes twitch. Because but that's what I'm just preparing for, is just that it's because it like I said, it hit me hard the other day because we knew a lady who she's in her mid-50s. She's a teacher. She's starting a new school. Her husband was just helping her like move into the class and had a massive heart attack on the spot. Luckily, I think he's made it, but he had like the widowmaker heart attack. Yeah. And they're in their mid-50s, and it's just it is my nightmare in so many respects that it's just, again, it's you could die, drive into the gym tomorrow, know, and but it's I'm trying to prepare myself, and I've talked about this a couple episodes ago, of like being able to be on my own 2 feet and not so intricately tied to needing you the way that I need you. Mm-hmm. But it's just hard for me to accept that, because there's so many old women that are the one next door, your grandma, any of the old ladies that are walking down the street by themselves. It's just, they were married and they've raised children and now it's done. Right. And it's, who are you by yourself? Who are you? Who were you before that existence happened? And now that you've had those experiences, what will you become again? How do you learn to tie yourself when you get married, and then when you have children and you have that family unit, you learn to tie yourself so intricately to that unit. Yeah. Is everything that you do is for that unit. And especially being a mom, everything you do is for your kids. As the homemakers, everything I do is based off of you. Whatever your schedule is for work, it determines on if and when I can work, or what I do, or where I go, because you're making the money. And this has just been my learning path. And one day it's just going to be done. And again, I think and
it can be done, like you said, for a number of reasons. But I think it's also like one of the things that I think is really jumped out is, for us, is like, so we know someone that's going through a divorce, and having those conversations with them has been one of those things where it really highlights just the overall or just general importance of having your identity that's not tied to someone else or something else. In the most like, in the crudest example of like, I'm the person that I own a fast car, and that's all of a sudden now my identity is tied to this car. Mm-hmm. Well, so like when you get rid of the car breaks down, you've lost everything. Like, no, like and so that's where it is what it does is it highlights the importance of making sure that you are actively building your own stuff, building your own thing of like something you can stand on. I've told you this forever. It's when you get really down on yourself, it's like, a phrase of like, I'm not good at it. Like, I'm not good at anything, right? I'm not like, you're feeling really down. It's you cook like a motherfucker. You can cook and bake with like the best of them. Thank you. For sure. The reality is one of the things one of the things you want to do in this life is possibly own a bakery or restaurant or food truck or some kind of thing. Right? And I think we've joked about Aimee's, right? The idea of like,
Aimee,
bringing all these grandmas in and forcing them to walk around the restaurant. But it's these ideas of you have that. And the reason it's like, that is yours. That is not a skill that was passed down to you. That is not a skill you had when we got married. That is something that you personally have cultivated over the last 13 years, to where it started with Mormon cookbooks for casseroles with
lots of mayonnaise.
Yeah, cream of mushroom soup and broccoli for 10 people. And it's like, this is what we're making. That's why I gained 50 pounds in 3 months.
When we first got married.
But the reality is that that is something that where you're like, you have passion for that. Yeah. Food brings you joy. And so that's something like you can hang your hat on that. That's not because you may have done it because it's like, I'm a wife and I need to feed my husband and I need to feed my family.
Yeah, it's intricate. I better learn how to freaking cook because I now have a husband that at that time was whatever it was, mandated 5,000 calories a day with the football team.
Right.
And then we wanted to have a big family. We wanted 6 kids.
Right.
So it was like, I better learn how to do the basics.
Right.
So that I can feed our family. And I love the idea of being a homemaker. I love the idea of like wearing an apron while vacuuming and like baking a pie. Like it's 1952.
And as long as you're naked doing all of those things, I'm a huge advocate for all those things that you do. And I think you do them rather well.
That's uncomfortable.
You're welcome.
In a public setting. But
it's just you and I.
It's now like I really don't like that.
Just don't look at it.
I'm trying, but I touch my face a lot. It's uncomfortable. But I just to finalize because the boys are going to get off the bus any minute. But it's a hard slap in the face of like. I know I still have minimum 12 years till Henry graduates, right? And that's an eternity. The one thing that has been shocking is everyone thinks when you only have toddlers, it's like they're the hardest and I don't have time. It's like, bitch, wait until one's in baseball and one's in football and one is here and one is there. We are now entering a different stage of busy.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love being the sports mom. And everything that goes along with it. And that will continue to evolve as they age. And I know I still have a lot of time, but I don't know how to separate myself from my children.
Yeah.
I don't know how to build my own identity without including them in my thought process, in my everyday existence. They are just an intricate part of what I have become. And that was always part of my game plan. I always wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm failing at it every goddamn day. It's definitely nothing what I envisioned it would be. And it's also everything that I hoped it would be in other respects. So it's this mission. It's the same thing of why I have all the feels right now. Of just, I'm so excited for my kids to be back in the classroom and to be growing up and trying these new things and being bigger in it. It's excitement. And it's also paired with overwhelming sadness that it's, okay, you don't need me as much anymore. What am I going to do? And with that comes rather extreme anxiety about what's next and how do I find my own path with that. So it's been a rough week.
But it's very exciting.
It is.
It's exciting because it's what's coming next. That's going to be exciting just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, the joke of like the book for what men know about women, and you open the book and it's all blank pages, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like the parenting guide is a blank book that you write while you do it. And
that's why I think I struggle. It's just, again,
But that's part of the and here's the thing, is that it's, and it's not to be overly mushy or corny, but it's like the real trick is just finding somebody that you want to go through all this turmoil with. Because you're not alone.
No, and to be quite honest, I don't have the personality. I'm not cut out for motherhood. As if you would have articulated, because my personality has been fairly consistent. I have learned things. I have doubled down on who I am in some respects, and there's been fine tuning in a lot of areas. But I've always been type A. I've always been super organized. I hate procrastination. I hate being late. I hate chaos.
Yep.
I hate that I can't control things. It's, if you made a list of all those, it's like, what's the worst possible career choice for you? Motherhood. But here I am.
Right.
And it's,
It's going to be awesome.
And it will be the best thing and that's what everyone says. That's why everyone tells you, oh, cherish these moments. They go by so quick.
Right.
All these things is because no matter, like, half the time it's, I don't even like my kids. Where it's like, I feel pride in some respects, and there's other things where it's just like, you are a lazy piece of shit. Like, what is wrong with you? What have I made? Because this is not for me. How do I fix you? Because you're clearly broken, because you just are different than what I am. And so I struggle with all these things. But there may be some out there, I'm sure there are, that are like, being a parent I never should have done it. It's the worst thing I've ever done. But I think overwhelmingly, if you were to take a poll of parents that have had kids and they have grown up and they have gone on, that is life's greatest adventure. That's why I think there's such a hard line of like, and to each their own. Some people don't want children, and that's totally fine. But it's like, there's definitely an othering, which is like, you don't know what you're missing out on. And for them, it's like, what do you mean when I'm like, it's Bill Maher to then 3, where it's like, oh, so you mean like I'm sleeping and I get to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and all the money that I make goes to me? That's what I'm missing out on?
Right.
It's just like, you get to live once. Yeah. And what the fuck are you doing with your life?
Right.
Like, they just kids create so much adventure, and it's good and it's bad and it's ugly.
Yeah.
And it's freaking exhausting. And it's terrible and it's frustrating, but it makes for... It's a little bit like wisdom in your teens would be a lot less fun. Is that you're going through it, and it's arguably the only thing that you do in life where there's no sort of... You literally have to figure it out as you go, and what makes your life what it is. And it's corny as hell, but I cannot imagine life without kids. And right now, because I'm in the shit so much, I feel like I'm drowning. And I do absolutely have anxiety and panic attacks, like, on the rig, because I feel like I'm screwing up.
Yeah.
But it's 20 years down the road, whatever they have become, and I can step back a little bit and say, I've raised them. They are who they are. Whatever influence I could have bestowed upon them is now ingrained in there, or not.
Right.
But I did it.
Yeah.
And because I did that, it changed me so drastically in this way.
Right.
And I'm happy that I made that decision, because without that, there's certain parts of my personality that never would have been able to be explored. I think that's important.
Boom.
Are we done now?
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road.